Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're having a look at the most powerful passports in Africa. Now this video is perfect if you're wondering what are the advantages of living outside of your existing countries. A lot of individuals now are actually moving abroad. They're getting more and more passports. They're not just willing to be a citizen of one country anymore. Today, more than ever, people want to have dual citizenship. They want to acquire secondary passports, third passports, fourth, fifth. They want to accomplish quite a lot more in this modern age of the digital empire and architecture that we can create online, run businesses from halfway around the globe. And individuals out there, they're considering taking passports of South America. They're looking for passports in Africa. They're looking for passports in Asia, of course. And these continents, they offer great differences in advantages of having various passports. The Caribbean is also another place where you can often buy citizenship. You can invest in a property and in return get permit to live and permit to apply for a passport or citizenship after a few years. And a lot more individuals are actually considering this because they're wondering, well, dual citizenship certainly creates more ability for you to maneuver in this world and to be greater in investing and save more money. People are actually doing this because they're thinking, if I don't have a job that requires me to be here, I can be there and run my business from anywhere. So let's have a look at that. The first country on the list is Seychelles. Beautiful destination, by the way. This is Africa's top passport for the third year in a row. And a lot of people go here for very specific reasons, for a more simplistic life, but also for investment opportunities like in real estate. Now, the Seychelles is located off the shores of Africa. So Seychelles actually gives you access to many countries in Europe and China and in Asia as well. So people do tend to like that access to being able to travel to European countries and do businesses and Asian countries and do businesses. This is a hugely beneficial property to have. Now, the global rank for this passport is 26, and it allows you to travel up to 156 different nations. That's really remarkable. These are countries that you can visit visa-free with this passport. Now, next on the list, you have one of my favorites, Mauritius. I do love the Seychelles and Mauritius. I love them both, to be honest. Never been, but I always want to travel and to check these countries out. So we got Mauritius, just as beautiful as the Seychelles. And it's located off the coast of Madagascar, of course. When I say off the coast, it's not like 30 miles away. It's a lot further than that. But this one is ranked 30 in the world. And it allows you to travel up to 150 countries visa-free. Really amazing passport. So these are the two best passports that people are really going for when it comes to an African passport. You can actually invest in property in Mauritius and you can be eligible for citizenship in 2 years. That's really amazing. You go to a European country like the UK, good luck. Good luck. The rules are set quite differently. They're not anywhere close to being this flexible. So it's said that Mauritius passport gains strength through trade, of course, and through investment opportunities. This makes a lot of sense. This is like their bread and butter. It's tourism, isn't it? But also, Mauritius has a virtual residency rule. And I think this simply means that you can buy property over there. You can be eligible for residency and probably down the line citizenship, but you probably don't need to even live in the country full time to be eligible for these things. You just have to have an investment, probably visit now and then. Sometimes certain countries require you to visit like 20 days out of the entire year. Sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's more. Monaco has different rules. Now, next we've got South Africa. This is third on the list, and the amount of countries you can actually visit is, in my opinion, significantly less than a place like Seychelles or a place like Mauritius. With the South African passport, it's ranked 53 globally, and you can visit up to 108 countries visa-free. Particular countries like Russia, particularly countries in Asia, and including countries in the Americas. I think in particular South America, like places like Brazil. Brazil and South Africa do have a common relationship, I would say. Remember, they're part of the BRICS program. They're part of the BRICS ecosystem, aren't they? Now, South Africa is actually very attractive for a lot of investors for various different reasons, because for one, it's known for being perhaps the most well-developed country in all of Africa when it comes to access to education, access to infrastructure. Still not as good as Mauritius or Seychelles, but still good access. Next on the list, we've got Namibia. Beautiful destination for a lot of travelers, actually. And I believe Namibia, one of the most spoken language over there is German. So you do have a lot of Germans going to Namibia, a lot of Germans visiting, investing, and it's one of the best African passports to hold. And it's strengthening its relationship with countries, neighboring countries, such as Angola for trade purposes, for business purposes, countries that are closest to Namibia. What about Botswana, South Africa? It's got a strong tie to these countries. So, for investors who want access into the South African region, so creating closer business with each other is actually to investors' benefit. It's actually to people benefit if you're holding their passport. It gives you more access to places like Angola. Angola being one of the most developed countries in Africa, by the way. So as a global rank, Namibia is ranked as 65 in the world with 80 countries that you can travel to visa free. So it's on the lower list of African countries as passport, but if you're planning to be closer to neighboring African countries, well, that's where Namibia becomes really special, isn't it? Now, next on the list, we've got Lesotho. It's located in the mountains of southern Africa. Really beautiful country, actually. And it's interestingly ranked at a global rank of 65, with up to 80 visa-free countries you can visit with this particular passport. Now, Lesotho enjoys a membership of the South African Custom Union. Now, this allows for amazing trade partnerships and businesses. This is particularly a good destination because it's sort of landlocked within the South African country. So there's pros and cons to it. If you want access to Lesotho as its own country, but you also want access to South Africa, another country within a country, then it gets interesting. But that's not for everyone. But for people who are already living in South Africa and want to remain living in South Africa, but want access to more places, but a passport of this magnitude, it's kind of like a perfect option because of the access that it might grant you. You know, it has really variable options, which is good. Now, next on our list, we've got Eswatini, another beautiful country. I believe this one is also landlocked within the South African country as well. So Eswatini also enjoys benefits similar to that of neighboring countries like Lesotho and South Africa, of course. But there's a slight difference, and let's explain why. Now, in 2018, Eswatini actually changed their name, and after this, it saw an increase in the amount of applications for passport. So, geographically, strategically, they're making some movements that are actually benefiting the country long term. And it's benefiting the countries to newcomers, people who specifically want to invest in said country. And this is always a key thing for a country's growth. You need foreign investment to a certain extent, foreign collaboration to a certain extent, to further distribute and influence and advance your own society and capabilities long term. Now, this country is ranked 66 in global world. There are 78 countries that are visa-free available for travel with the Eswatini passport. Next, we've got Malawi. Malawi is well known for having a rich and strong agricultural economy. This is brilliant for investors, in particular investors that are interested in farming, the agriculture business in general, who want to invest in this space. Not to mention, this space is particularly booming over the world at the moment. But isn't it always? Agriculture is something that is so needed in the world. It's always benefiting. It's always booming. It's never really slowing down, is it? If anything, agriculture is seen as more needed in today's world. So you do have countries like Malawi who can enjoy this benefit. Now, Malawi is also part of COMESA, Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa. I had to look that up. And guess who's also a part of this community? We've got Eswatini, who's also part of the COMESA community as well, Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa. This is brilliant because these countries that are neighboring each other, they want to have more beneficial trade and opportunities amongst each other. This is brilliant for business in a global perspective and for perspective on the African continent as well. For investors, this is something that is quite appealing when countries can communicate and agree upon trading with each other because it's just good for business, especially an agriculture business that is extremely geopolitical and extremely strategic and based on transportation, logistic business. It really comes down to logistics. You can plant as many fruits as you want, but without the transportation, without the trade and opportunity, it really becomes difficult. And for countries like Eswatini, for countries like Lesotho, for countries like Malawi, they're kind of landlocked between neighboring countries. They, in particular, need these trade agreements. It is crucial for their long term benefits. Countries that have their own base, they have their own ports, they don't really require these kind of supports when they can have more say, more control, more portions of their say. But when you're landlocked, it becomes very difficult to trade with neighbors and having that strategic advantage. Now, next on our list, we've got Kenya, one of my favorite in East Africa, in fact. Kenya is known for many things. In particular, right now, it's developing at a vast pace in terms of businesses. Based on my research, I've got some notes here. The Kenya passport reflects its strength to commit to enhance mobility with important global relations within the East African community. Kenya consistently outperforms other countries, emphasizing its citizen enthusiasm for foreign travel. And they benefit from agriculture. They benefit from travel, businesses, tourism, so many different things that are actually benefiting the Kenyan economy. And if anything, the economy in Kenya will see great opportunities. It already has, but it's growing at such a pace that it's unimaginable. Could this country someday compete with that of Ethiopia? It's already competed with Tanzania. They're both neighbors. Next on our list is Tanzania. But before we get to Tanzania, let's just talk about the global ranking for Kenya. It's ranked 67 and it has 76 free visa countries to travel, mostly within East Africa. So next on our list, you've got one of my favorite. You've got Tanzania. And I'm guessing this also includes Zanzibar, of course. So Tanzania passport is backed by top 10 of Africa's most powerful for strategic relationship and mainstream immigration progress recently. With considerable potential for nature tourism, the country thrives to elevate global engagement and business. Business has been booming in this economy. Tanzania has always been the more silent, reserved country, but they've done extremely well. And that's part of their motto as a country. They don't just want to do the talking, they rather show you the true results of what they can accomplish. And they've been doing that. They've been doing it brilliantly. Dar es Salaam used to be their capital. They've actually been working on a new capital for over 40 years, I believe. And I believe it's actually their new capital. I believe it's Dodoma. I could be wrong. I'm pronouncing it terribly. I do apologize. But they've got a beautiful capital that they're building, and it's more central within the country as well. And this is brilliant because Dar es Salaam is huge and it's only growing. So by diversifying this population to other parts of the country, it's genius by Tanzania. The global rank is 69 with 73 visa-free countries to travel to. And I'm guessing most of these are perhaps within the East and South African region, of course. So ladies and gents, these are some of the most powerful passports on the African continent. I want to make a video on this based on South America, Europe, Asia, but we're going to get to that. And of course, the world. What are the most powerful passports in the world? We're going to look at that. So I do hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to see more. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you in our next video. Peace.